Happy Eclipse Day, Mike.
Oh, thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
That's very nice of you.
It's the least I can do.
Did you send me a card?
I did. It's in the mail. Obviously, I haven't received it yet, but it's in there, and I think you're gonna like it.
I think I will. I mean, if you sent me a card, I mean, how can you not like cards?
Well, some people are weird like that, you know.
Oh, yeah, that's true. And maybe I am one of those guys, actually. But an Eclipse card, I don't think I've ever gotten one of those.
Well, you know, this only happens like one every billion years. So, I mean, you've definitely never seen it. I mean, I know you're old and stuff, but you've probably never seen one of these.
That's so funny. I could have swore that, I had to look that up because I could have swore when I was a kid I remember seeing one of these. Maybe it wasn't Total Eclipse of the Heart. Yeah,
I know. I'm the anomaly in this. I have like minimal to almost no interest in this thing.
I know. I don't know if you're an anomaly. I mean, I'm feeling that too.
Me and Nick Saban, I guess.
Saban's not in?
Mm-mm.
Well, that makes me feel better.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty good at what he does. I'm just so tuned in. You know what? This is probably an exaggeration. And my wife already shot me down on this morning, but you know, it'll be at least a few days till she listens to this probably, so at least I can live in, you know, what I think is the reality. This is like the scientific community's version of Cinco de Mayo and St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, I think that's fair. You know,
let's just make up that this is, it's going to happen. Yeah, it's going to be cool for like 3 minutes, but let's shut down schools. Let's close businesses. Let's sell glasses. Just take the day off, and who gives a shit about anything else? Let's just go stare at the sun and the moon for about 3 minutes and make a big deal out of it.
Yeah. I think the make a big deal out of it part is the part that gets me a little bit. It's my analogy was kind of like it reminds me a little bit of the Super Bowl, because typically I'm just not interested, but the odds are at some point during this afternoon I will be like chomping on celery sticks and carrots and maybe kind of look outside or something like that and watch for
olives.
Yeah, or olives, or watch for a few minutes like I'm at a Super Bowl party. But maybe it should be a reminder that we really don't have any control over any of this stuff. I mean, like the universe is a pretty powerful beast, and we should probably just appreciate each day. You know, maybe that's what the reminder is. Sometimes I think of that, like, you know, with holidays, like forced holidays or something, that they just should remind us that, you know, we should, you know, spend more time with our family and friends and just hang out. So maybe that's at the core of this.
Yeah,
we just need to take a little time to relax and appreciate the fact that we're vulnerable human beings. That you know, I mean, if that sun or the whatever is going on, the moon. What is it? Is it the moon?
I don't know, man. It's something's crossing past. But what
if it stops? You know, then it could be an ice age. So we better be careful out here, what we wish for.
Yeah, it's not gonna be an ice age. I mean,
I know, but you know, I'm just saying, you never know.
Yeah. You know what? You know, nobody dislikes the media more than me, but I was kind of hoping this would be just like somebody, like a couple media networks got together and they're like, you know what? I bet we can show how much in control we are over people's perceptions and how we can make them do things. Let's just talk about there's going to be an eclipse, and we'll just spit out these things and like without any proof, and then let's see what happens. And then it's going to hit like 11 o'clock today, and nothing's going to happen. And they're going to be like, gotcha.
Yeah.
All we've been doing is publicizing it. You didn't even look it up to see if it was actually true or to see if it was actually going to happen. And gotcha. But yeah, I don't think that's going to happen actually, but it'd be funny.
Yeah, I mean, what if it's not perfect though? I mean, I guess it's nature, so it's always going to be perfect. But
yeah. I
don't understand why there wasn't a like yesterday, why it didn't sort of kind of do it, but today all of a sudden it's just full on.
Oh yeah, it's full on today. Yeah, who knows, man? I don't know. I was going to go to the lab earlier. I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to waste my time going out there because I'm sure there's already a bunch of like weirdos out there with like that camped out ready for it. Allie said she got to work today over at Vanderbilt and people camped overnight in Centennial Park to get like a spot.
A spot?
Yeah, like a spot for what? This isn't like a, you know, Pearl Jam's first concert, but it's like, yeah, anyway.
I know, there's pretty good views pretty much everywhere on the planet. Well, I guess this is the best view right around here, but I'm thinking I might just I think the full eclipse is supposed to hit around 1:30 here. So I was thinking about maybe going for a run, maybe with a headlamp, just to see. You know what I mean? Just like 2 minutes of darkness, what that really is going to be like. Is it going to be like total darkness?
I don't know, man. We got to find out.
I mean, that's kind of cool, I guess. But what are these people in Alaska thinking right now? You know, they're
I
probably
feel like, do we deal with this 5 months out of the year? Big whoop.
I know. It's it's kind of like when you're at the running Ironman Louisville and it's so hot and sunny back in the day and you run across the street just to get like 2 seconds of shade.
Yep.
Maybe that's what's going on there. They're going to be like relieved.
Could be.
All right, so I guess you had a big swim camp. You took the C26 Triathlon swim camp to the road this weekend.
Yeah, on the road, Columbia, Missouri, and actually just got done sending them out an email, or email A, thanking them, and B, a little survey, so I can always, you know me, I'm always looking to improve things and improve the athlete experience, so I sent them thank you, and then a little quick survey, like Google form to fill out, so I could help things and see if it'd be, help future clinics, and also see if it'd be a good idea if I came back over the winter for like a classroom setting, video session, and then a pool session the next day. So, but yeah, it was awesome. I mean, you never know how things are going to go when you get together, really large groups of people with different abilities and different personalities. And I'd never been to this venue before either, in terms of where we were gonna do the swim. So you got kind of always you just have to be prepared for basically anything, and really, having like a set plan never really works, because things are going to be different, and but it was great. Everybody, I run my clinics, I'm very engaging, I always ask for a ton of feedback. And it was awesome. Everybody seemed like they had a really, really good time. So far I've had really great responses, and look forward to getting some of the video back that was taken, and hopefully do a few more of these. They're super fun, and it's always great to see like so many people have like these light bulb moments in a sport, where, and especially like the sport within the sport, which is swimming within triathlon, that they have these like light bulb moments and like figure out, oh, well, I guess what I've been doing doesn't make sense. Because I ask a lot of questions, like, well, tell me why, or tell me why you believe this, or tell me why you've been told this. And, 9 times out of 10, it's like, oh, I don't know. I was just told to do it.
Yeah. So, what are some of those top line things?
Oh, man. Like high elbow out of the water, you got to have it. Mm-hmm. You should enter the water by your head, which is literally the worst advice I've ever heard in my entire life.
On anything?
I mean, it's the equivalent of like, walk across the street without looking both ways.
Oh.
Those are like the top two. But no, it's like, and I'm like, well, why? Like, does that make sense to you? And then I show them like, what they're missing. They're like, oh, okay, well, okay, yeah, you're right. And I'm like, yeah, like, because we know, and that's just human nature too. Two things. One, we just don't we don't question a lot of things. And then like the other half of, my clinic, in the way that I approach it, especially when I'm dealing with, I had 6 or 7 athletes there that I coach, so they know my style, they know what I believe in and my philosophy, and then I've got 18 or 19 total strangers, and so I like to start off like, listen, like, I'm not here to tell you that your coach is wrong, your master's, swim team coach is wrong, or whatever, but I'm just here to tell you that there's probably a better way. And a lot of it is you talk to people who have like literally spent money and watched like these Total Immersion videos, and listen, I get why Total Immersion is popular. I get it. It looks easy, it looks attainable, it looks doable, and it doesn't cause that much, it's not about getting stronger, it's about your technique. And you can look smooth and soft, and for triathletes who generally come to the sport with no swimming background, you want to choose, just like you do physically, the path of least resistance, and that is things like Total Immersion, where you just learn to do everything slow and long, and then you get in open water and it all goes to shit. And so, had to, very carefully maneuver how I talk about that. And, I don't like to tell people they've been wasting time and they've been fooled and lied to, but more oftentimes than not, they have. So entering early and exiting early because you have to have this high elbow is really what ruins people. And so then they get in and we have them go through their current stroke, and then we get feedback, and then I, get the band out and the paddles out and show them how to, ways to correct their form and correct their stroke. And it's great. I mean, it really is. It's, and swimming is one of those sports where you shouldn't have to wait weeks to see an improvement. You should literally see improvement immediately. And that's why I like doing these clinics is so fun, because you've got 20 people on shore watching this one person. They saw their previous stroke. Now you see him again. And I don't even say anything. I'm like, well, what do you guys see? They're like, oh, they look so much faster and stronger. Than the person gets up out of the water. I'm like, well, how did you feel? I'm like, oh, I felt great. It's like, it doesn't take weeks or months. Like, if people tell you that, they're just lying, because they just want you to like go on about your business in your day and you forget that you just paid something and didn't get any return. And, swimming is just one of those things. It's so much technique. And while, I understand that, it's going to be, it's going to take time to develop and get stronger with like your swim specific strength. Like I talk about a lot, just because you swam a 400 awesome doesn't mean you should give up on your stroke, for the next 1,000, and let it get easier. It's going to take a little bit of time, which is okay. But so no, it was awesome, and they were a great group, and we had a lot of fun and laughs, and the weather cooperated. But yeah, we ate up every bit of 3 hours and 15 minutes at that clinic.
Wow, that's great. I like what you said one of the podcasts about how basically when you're teaching swimming, you like to create like the Rosetta Stone of swimming, which basically takes it takes out a lot of the overcomplication of things. And I think in essence that's a pretty good way to describe it, because I was looking at somebody posted something on Facebook. It was a guy who got in the water and had somebody film him, and he had paddles and a pull buoy going. He said, "Here's my stroke. What do you guys think?" It was like the worst thing he could have done, because he had a thread of about 100 pieces of advice.
Gosh,
and it was just unbelievable. As I'm reading it going, man, these are, not only is there way too much information here, it's just almost, half of it was conflicting the other half, and it was just incredible how much complication and how deep people want to start thinking about swimming. But what you said, and I think is the key, is like, people will notice a quick change, I think, if they listen to you for an hour or whatever at one of these swim camps, or a 12 minutes on a swim analysis. They're going to pick up something really quick that's going to change their time, and it's going to make them faster and make swimming feel easier. But like you're saying, you're changing the way you're approaching it, so the fitness part of it, to take that and do that for a long extended period of time, is what's going to be where the work is. But it's a matter of keeping your form and being able to keep your form over time.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's just it's really cool. And I noticed that, because I've been talking about you can figure out ways to swim where it doesn't take as much energy as you think it might, but over time that doesn't mean you're actually going to be going faster by any means. You got to get the fitness down.
Yeah, but and it should, it should like originally feel like, oh, I felt like I worked before the clinic. I worked with Angela Peterson, one of our athletes, and of course she had just been down here for camp, and so things were like fresh on her mind. And then we did some swim work that morning at this local fitness center, and she was like, oh, well, what do I was like, what do you usually do for your 50? Like just kind of cruising. And she was like, between 56 and a minute per 50. And so we went over a few stroke, changes, and so she swam again, and she was routinely between 45 and 47 seconds.
Yeah.
And I said, the first thing I always ask is, how do you feel? And, she's like, I felt fast, like I felt strong. And it's always, I felt faster and stronger. And then the next thing is, but I didn't feel like I was working that hard. because that's one of the main reasons why people hate swimming is because they try so hard to get nowhere. And so they kick so hard and they flail their arms everywhere and they literally don't get anywhere. And so they become discouraged and they hate it and they get out of breath because everybody hates being out of breath.
Yeah.
It's the same reason people who start up running don't stick with it because they don't choose to run slow enough. They just go out and try to run really fast and they're like, oh, but I can only make it like a half mile. And I'm like, well, what if you went out and literally ran like as slow as you possibly could? How long could you go for? And then they go out and run for 30 minutes. It's like, and that's why people end up hating it is because they feel A, they're not good at it. B, they don't really know what to do, and C, that when they do try hard, they just don't get any return, and that's frustrating.
Yeah, and it's like sprinting, and in the pool it's a panic. There's a different variable as far as thinking you got to go super fast just to stay on top of the water and not sink or drown or something like that. So it's a very different mindset. But like you're saying, yeah, you feel faster and you feel stronger, but your technique, encourages people to move more water, and that very fact means that you're going to have to build strength, over time, distance, and that's the difference as far as like the long swims versus doing 100 or something and saving time. But it makes sense. I mean, you just have to put in work in the pool, but it's usually comes down to just building that strength and using the right muscles and building the right muscles. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, I was in the pool the other day and I was swimming I had it going, and there was a guy that was sharing my lane, and we happened to stop at the end, and he's like, dude, he's an older guy, you're super fast. And I said, well, I'm not that fast. And he goes, well, but yeah, and you're just, I go, look, because he goes, well, I just started swimming last week, and it just looks so painful watching him swim, man. It was like
Did you help him out?
Well, that was the point, is that we were just sitting there talking, and because he was kicking and he was doing super slow. His body was almost vertical in the water kind of thing, and he was kicking out to the sides, and his kick was just like anyway, it was like half as fast as I was going. And I said, man, I think you're doing great for a week, because he kept going. He was like pounded out a mile or something, but in the end. But I was like, man, you should try it. Maybe why don't you just, like, I showed him the pull buoy, for example. I said, pull this out, man, it'll keep your butt up, it'll make it feel like, oh, no, well, I just got to keep trying. I got to keep trying. and he goes, I just need to keep doing it. I don't need to think about anything like that. And I was like, all right. I didn't, you can't force people to do anything, really. So I said, all right, buddy, go for it. And he just took off again.
Yeah,
he started drowning.
Sometimes you just can't. Exactly. Sometimes you just gotta let him go.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, we're about 50 days into coming up on 50 days into our Ironman Louisville training of 100 days. Mm-hmm. So I thought, I'm curious to know where you're at mentally and where I'm at mentally, and because it does sneak up on you, right? I mean, we were pretty fired up early on, and I'm still fired up, but now I'm really starting to feel the grind a little bit. And I know,
dude, me too.
On so many levels, whether it be the stuff we got to do for work or personally, and then those workouts start looming and getting longer and more intense or whatever. So, I just and I sent you that email. I don't know if you saw it about. There's an article that I wrote, and I just thought it was. I wrote it. It was one of the more popular articles that I ever posted, and it was about. It was called "I paid $650 for an Ironman, and all I got was ... So, and it ended up being, obviously, I mean, I got a lot, is the point. And so I just thought we'd maybe kind of riff on some of the headlines I put in there. And the first one was, for me, because I was trying to get back in shape and get my life turned around and everything like that. And the number one thing I got for signing up for an Ironman and paying $650, which is now $7 or $750 or $8, was I got motivation. So why don't you just kind of a little bit talk about your motivation right now? I mean, this is a little bit on the why topic, but for me it was, I said, Ironman doesn't budge. It just waits for you to show up, and you better be ready when it gets there or it'll eat you alive. And for me, that's the thing about having a race on the calendar, having something on the calendar. It's like, we're generally motivated as people, but I don't necessarily know if it's always in our nature, So there's something good about putting something on the calendar and having it out there to kind of like lift you out of your chair every now and then to get going.
Yeah.
So, talk about.
I'm definitely focused on it. I've had, and this is, I guess my 100 day is more like a microcosm of the whole year when somebody signs up, for one of these in a more responsible fashion, and they have, 8 to 12 months. Is the first 40, these first 46 days have been, I would say for my life and, where we are is like fairly uneventful, which makes for prime training environment, and so I had, like 40 something days worth of really just nail on the head hitting workouts. And in these last couple of days, man, I've just been beat down, flirting with maybe getting sick, but not getting sick. Like I whenever Hayden gets something, I get it. It's just kind of how we roll. And then, anytime you travel, it creates stress, whether you realize it or not, it just does. And, anytime I'm on the road, I don't, it's just hard. I'm a creature of habit, and I am a creature of routine. And while I totally loved like going to Columbia, doing this is like traveling, staying in a hotel, then I had a ton of work to do, because got back yesterday and I knew we were going to be booked and I was going to be tired, so I got home yesterday and I was tired, and we had a family function, and then I wanted to hang out and spend some more time with Allie and Hayden because I hadn't seen them all weekend, and then I knew we'd probably end up more than likely doing the podcast today, and then next thing I know, I'm going to be up against going to be the clinic, or the camp on Thursday.
Yeah.
And which are all early mornings, and that's not really the huge thing. It's just constant. So busy all weekend, up much later than I usually am, and just I did get a workout in Saturday morning. But I'm ready to kind of start back on the week. I don't want to dig too much of a hole, Monday through Thursday, because I know I'm going to need it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But at the moment, just feeling kind of zapped, and I think it's just a combination. Like Allie and I use this term all the time. It's like I just feel off. I'm like my chi or whatever is just like not, it's off somewhere else. But usually it's almost always because I haven't slept enough or I haven't eaten right. And I definitely haven't slept a lot the last 2 or 3 nights, and I definitely had 2 giant scoops of ice cream yesterday. But it's easy to be motivated, and it's easy to be focused, and it's easy to be dialed in, and it's easy to be pumped when everything's going your way.
Sure.
And so like this morning, I'm like, I'm catching up on a little bit of work, and then I'm like, man, like I can get ahead of things, and I definitely have to work out, and get a few things in today, but it's like I just want to be smart about it. And it's not so much changing my expectations, it's changing the way I'm going to approach these workouts in a way to where I'm really getting to a point to where it's going to be about managing stress. Because my next 55, so the next 55 days of this already crunched time frame for me. Let me run through these real quick. And tell you what, I'm just gonna have to play it kind of ear by ear. And this week is this week. Got camp, the 24th or the 27th. Be a hard week. The next week, a free week comparatively for my schedule. The next week, Monday through Friday is good, and then the 9th and 10th, I'll be in Chattanooga for 70.3 Worlds and Allie and I's anniversary. Uh, 2 weeks after that, we close on our new house on the 19th, and then we go to West Virginia for a family wedding, and then the next week we move into our new house, and then it's 2 weeks till Louisville. So we got a few things on the calendar. Definitely not like, the clean slate that I like to have, but I hear this all the time, and it's definitely caused me to kind of like rearrange or try to rearrange the way that I think. And it's like, oh, I'm going to miss these things, and end up getting a new house or this, and like, yeah, but I guess that's just life. I'm like, you mean life is what's the most important part? Yeah. And it's like, it should be like, oh, well, it's just triathlon. It shouldn't be, oh, well, I guess, it's like life is the one getting in the way of triathlon, whereas we should be trying to fit triathlon into this puzzle that is life, and not, vice versa. And so that's definitely the kind of manipulation in my scheduling and my efforts and my workouts that's going to make, it is, man, it's going to make the next, 50 something days here really, really interesting, with a lot of travel and a lot of stress, and the need to dial things in and get focused and hit things when I can, and it'll be the definition of go really, really, really hard when you can, and then go really, really easy, or just take a day off when you can't. And that's kind of how that's what's going to be, and what's going to look like for me here for the next few weeks.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, man. Because when you get into Ironman and you start, the people who have done it before, it's the first thing they'll say is, wait till you get into that schedule and you start looking at those 17, 20-hour weeks or whatever that people talk about. And I'm with you, because my MO, especially because I guess maybe because we've done several of them or whatever, but and we want to make this one, every time you go in, I think you want to do as well as you can. But I also have to balance this thing, man. Like, it's one thing that I would rather work out and leave that workout almost feeling energized, if possible, than getting home and just like, collapsing and realizing that, I still have to do laundry and mow the lawn and clean out the garage. Have no energy, because that's where everything just starts mounting, and it snowballs into that stress factor. And you have clear things on your calendar. And I have some too, because I'm going to Wisconsin, and I'll be at Chattanooga, and those are weekend to travel, and I'm already planning ahead. I'm going to try and get in the water for the practice swim at Wisconsin, and that'll be my workout for there, and trying to do stuff like that. But there's so much, it can be so overwhelming, and 50 days in, I think that I'm just trying, like I said, trying to get the most out of my workouts without crushing myself, because it's so important just to keep momentum and frequency and things like that, and feel good about it. At this point, it's like we were talking about it last time. I was like, yeah, we could probably just go do, Ironman right now, but you want to keep, so you got that going for you, right? And most people do. And then it's about just incremental builds. We talk about just getting a little bit better. You don't have to like conquer the whole race tomorrow. It's just about getting something, even if it's a shorter workout. I've always leaned short, and but I haven't had the frequency, and that's really like we're at the point of that I'm at right now, where I keep thinking about, all right, man, I've got a pretty good solid thing going, so just keep the frequency up and don't go out of your box too much, because the worst thing that can happen is 3 or 4 days off, or or a week of just like, why am I doing this? And I don't want that more than anything.
Yep. Yeah, it's that fine line of this is enough, and I know I want more, but let's stay within ourselves. Is that really tough area? I know I need to do this, but I could probably do a little bit more. But is that little bit more gonna be what makes me faster? And really makes a difference in the time at my race, or is that little bit more going to be what makes me take a few more days off because I dug myself too big of a hole? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think that's the rate everybody's at right now. You know, I've come to the realization and the understanding, and I've accepted the fact that, you know, going into this race, I'm going to fully have to embrace the, you know, 100% undertrained is way better than 1% overtrained. You know, got it, you know, check. But it's still that it's hard to not chase an extra 30 minutes here, an extra 30 minutes there. You know, how long till, you know, how long is it? Like for me right now, I'm in this like, I don't want to say no man's land, but it's like, how, you know, when am I going to keep pushing the envelope to get more power and to get faster and to up my top end speed or power? And then when do I get to that point to where it's just time to accept that I've gotten this far in this amount of time, which is awesome and I should be proud about, and be okay with. And then now just spend the rest of the time dialing in my pacing, the nutrition for that pacing, how the recovery going to look, you know, how it's going to look, and all that kind of stuff. And so, you know, that's kind of the window I'm in right now. You know, I have a number that I'd love to have on the bike as far as a power, but you know, it's like if I don't get it, I don't get it. But when do I stop trying to get to that number, and when do I just accept where I'm at and go from there? You know, because I tell people that all the time, is when they start training with me is like, listen, and it's different because I've already been training, but the best thing you can do, the smartest thing you can do for your journey in any sport or any new endeavor is to accept where you are and go from there. Don't start training where you want to be. Start training where you are. And that's what kills people so many times is they start training. They want to just rattle off these big runs, these big efforts, and these big paces. And I'm like, you ain't there yet. Accept where you are. Accept, you know, what you have to work with, and then just get to work and be realistic. And that's kind of where I've started. But now I'm in that. Yeah, like I said, I'm kind of in that, not no man's land. I just need to, you know, get my shit together and make a decision.
It's a hell of a weight if you put that on yourself. And that's what you're just saying is the patience piece, right? It's that's the most important part of training is patience, probably. And you said something to me the other day that I had a little bit of a tough time accepting, but I think it's reality. You said because we were talking about numbers and potential and stuff like that, and you know, I've thought that, you know, I'm on the cusp of a Kona qualifier every time I've done this race, and you looked at me and you said, you know, you're about a year away, and I had to like eat that and think about that for a minute, and you're so damn right, because yes, you know, in a perfect world, if I just like had to put my, you know, hammer to the ground and just went for it, and had everything fall into place perfectly, and like eat perfect and everything, maybe at the farthest outset of this thing, I could probably maybe get in the ballpark. But the reality is, it's not that. So. But I am on a good pattern. You know, I am on a good trajectory. It's just not there yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was the weirdest thing to try and accept is like, you know, there's going to be flukes, and I'm sure some people have come out of nowhere and did it, but with much more base or much more, you know, running history or cycling history, whatever it may be. But when I start really stepping back and looking at the reality of this thing, I just have to accept where I'm at and keep moving in the right direction. And if I keep doing what I'm doing right now, incrementally, daily, then yeah, next year that'll be a reality, I think, because that's always been the question. Can I keep the consistency? Yeah. And the reason I don't keep it 9 times out of 10 is because I try to go too far or too fast.
Yeah.
And that breaks you down, and then it may help in the long run. But if you're not going to get good recovery and you don't have enough time, which we don't, then you're starting to set unrealistic goals and hopes and dreams, and that pressure is unnecessary.
Yeah, yeah, and I was listening to a podcast on the way home yesterday. It was really, really good, and the guy was talking. He was like, I don't really like even remotely look up to professional triathletes or professional athletes in general, because that's their only job. They have the most high-tech facility. They have the most high-tech everything. They have everything at their disposal, from sponsors to naps to massages to, everything, and they have unlimited time. But it's these athletes or these triathletes, wherever you want to look at it, that have, demanding jobs and demanding family life and personal things, but still find the time to be successful and be really fast. Like, those are the people that blow my mind. Especially when I look at like people on the pointy end of the spectrum in like age groups, and then I see them like, if I see a pro, I'm like, yeah, I just never really get excited anyway. But if I see a dude that like crushes it and goes like low sub 9 in an Ironman, or like in the 8s, and then you see him walking around with his family afterwards, you're like, holy shit, dude. Like, it's incredible, and it's it's just amazing, in my opinion, that these people are capable of doing this, and I admire it. I admire it greatly, and I have much more admiration for that type of athlete than I do professionals that, that's their only job, and yes, what they are able to accomplish these ridiculous athletic feats, but seeing these like 9 to 5, whatever kind of job it is, still be able to compete at such a high level and still have a great family dynamic and a great personal life. I look up to them it's just so much more than I look up to even like the age grouper who just like doesn't have a job and like is single and doesnn't have any like no stress, and like what you do means nothing to me, honestly. Like good
me?
for you. Good. No, not you have multiple jobs, but no, it's like the ones who all they do is they train 24/7. Like, yeah, your results are good, but honestly, like, why the hell don't you have any? You should, because you have that much time to train. You barely work. It's the people who work so hard in every aspect of their life,
yeah,
and still seem to come out and just do incredible things that just totally amaze me.
That's a bit of a segue into my second point in that article, which is I paid $650 for Ironman, and what else did I get? I got great friends with positive attitudes. And when I wrote about this initially, it was sort of this, we were in that 3-day a week, 6 a.m. at the lake swim training, and nobody's getting paid. Everybody's working that day, and people are just out there practicing swimming.
I was getting paid.
You were getting paid.
Yeah, I was getting paid.
Yeah, that was your job. So, but nobody was a professional, and nobody got paid to do it. But people were just out there, swimming or running in the rain or doing hill repeats past, old couples walking by holding hands on the greenway, and we're out there training for Ironman, and we embrace the challenges because they are there, and it's all relative. It's like, how much better can you get at however good you are at that moment? And that's the people that are willing to push that envelope to get past there that creates, for me, a connection in attitude, and it's something that I, like you're just saying, and you really respect, is that it's like they never settle, and they want to be good people, good triathletes, better, more fit. And just like they just keep chasing it, because why? Because that's what we do in life, and it's so much easier for me to connect to those types of people, and I just love that quality sitting there. And it just seems like I always run into these people that are not into that sort of thing, or they're just doing whatever, and I have a hard time with that. And here we are, we'll have the camp. It'll be a shining example of people coming into town that are just all in, They just want to do better. They want to get better. So these are all people with great attitudes that become your friends, in the long run, because we're on the same path.
Yep. They might even become your best friend on a long run.
Yeah, there's nothing like that, right? A little long run chat. It's sort of like it's our version of going on the golf course with
it is
CEOs.
It is. Been telling people that for a long time. Triathlon is the new golf. Except you have to be in much better shape.
And it doesn't take as long.
Yeah, seriously. And it's probably not even that expensive. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no kidding. I used to golf a lot when I was a kid, and at some point I was like, man, I just don't have 7 hours today. And
seriously,
but that's what I do on the bike.
Ride.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, then also I felt like there was another point in there that says I built a better connection with the people that matter most, and I think that one of the things that was interesting is that as you are training for Ironman, you feel like you're on an island or whatever, but over time, and especially now with the podcast, it's like the people that email us and get in contact with us, it's like we're not on this journey alone by any means, and there's so many people on the periphery of my life that eventually contacted me and said I was inspiring them to make a change. And it's people like that I mean, it's just that human nature, I think, and everybody sort of in their mind kind of would love to be able to do it, but for whatever reason, their life experiences, or they haven't turned any kind of corner, they haven't been able to commit to, getting off the couch, or, I got friends that are, 50 years old, a lot of them that I went to school with and things like that are just watching themselves kind of fade away, and I'm trying to encourage them, but again, it's like something you can't really do. But right. When I hear them say, man, I really wish I could do that, that's sort of that vulnerable human side that I really appreciate in people. It's like, and it's so easy to say, just kick back, have some pizza, man, this is gonna be a great, and kind of fake your way like that's really what you want to do, and that's fun, don't get me wrong, but
not really.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean? Yeah.
People act like it's fun because they don't want to act like it sucks, because they've made the decision, their own reality, that this is going to be their projection of fun, and that's just not the case.
Yeah, that's true too. I love it when people kind of, at least, especially the people that will project that kind of opinion over years, and then they'll kind of sneak behind the door and go, hey man, I kind of think you're doing this cool. It's like, I really wish I could do that. Well, you can, but I don't know what flips people over the edge. I guess it's sort of like we talked about before through AA or whatever. You can't, they have to make that call on their own, They have to hit their bottom or whatever that may be in their lives to kind of flip a switch. And but still, nonetheless, at the core, that's what I'm talking about when I say, you build a better connection with the people that matter most. And a lot of times it is those people, even though they're not involved with you, but they are, sort of supporting you vicariously or whatever. And those are the sides that I love to see in people.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally agree, man.
And the last point I had in that article was that what I got for that $650, or now $700, that I spent was really a memory of a lifetime, and it's the whole process, of course. But you cannot deny that running through that arch at the end is a pretty good memory to have, especially when there's people around, right?
Oh, dude, it's awesome, and I can't wait.
Yeah. So I keep trying to, like I sent, every once in a while, I'll send people a picture of the finish line just to kind of, because everybody wants that. I mean, we can talk about the reality of training and how there should be enjoyment along the way, and there obviously has to be, or you're going to, like us right now, we have to be enjoying this, or, I mean, how can, doing a multiple Ironman be, but there's something about actually accomplishing the finishing the marathon that day that is just a mind blower.
Yeah, I know.
It's like you just did something that seemed impossible, truly, and you get done and you feel Like the one thing that I remember specifically from my first finish was after an hour or whatever, I got to my phone and there was tons of text messages, and the first one on there was, "Congratulations, you must feel dead." and I replied with the simple line of, "Actually, I feel more alive than I have in 10 years." And to me, that was the essence of it. Is like, how on earth could I feel so good after doing that? And I think it just was a culmination of, just the fact that I committed to something, I stuck it through, and I actually pulled it off. And what literally seemed a year before is something that there's no way on the face of the earth that I could pull that off.
Yeah.
And there it was. And tons of people around, and that's the one thing is like, you're going to go do one of these things, just build this community. That's why I love our community, because I think it's going to help enhance the final moments of that race, and people can be around people that they've been following and really like and love and enjoy, and they can celebrate together. It's like this culmination of a crazy ride.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is that for sure. Crazy ride. Crazy ride,
man. Speaking of that, are you going to be doing a crazy ride today? Or are you going to nestle in?
We'll see. The eclipse is supposed to start here in like the next 20 minutes or so. You should be able to start at least seeing it start to do its thing. So I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see, huh? I might just take my dog for a walk. Eclipse walk.
I do need to take Kona for a walk. It's getting pretty toasty today.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a scorcher today. Oh, what's up, Maddie?
Maddie.
Definitely a scorcher, but it's supposed to cool off on Wednesday. Like, the camp temps are supposed to be like in the low 80s, which is going to be ridiculously awesome. But
that is good.
Yeah, I'm either gonna ride, run, or swim, run. Haven't decided yet.
All right. Well, I think Maddie does know there's an eclipse coming. She's been acting weird today. Is Kona?
Kona's looking at me like, why are you talking so loud? I need to sleep. Yeah, so she's not. She's good.
No? There's no...
She's unfazed. She's unfazed.
Okay. There's no deep animal connection to the nature?
She has a really deep connection with just, chilling. And so I think she's generally unfazed. She's excited about college football season, but other than that, I think she's generally unfazed.
Yeah, I've been trying to catch up on sleep. I told you the other night what I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard that.
I mean, I don't know what's up with me on that, man. But I stayed up till on Saturday night. The Wisconsin Badger basketball team.
Seriously, who cares?
I know. No, even my buddies who are into basketball are like, "Can you just ease up, man? What's going on with that?" Mm-hmm. But they were playing. They're in an exhibition trip in Australia, so their game was streamed live from midnight to 2 a.m. on Saturday, and I couldn't have been happier watching that thing.
Well, I'm glad you were enjoying that while I was off on the road working.
Well, I mean, I had my laptop open. And
right.
I was planning ahead and everything like that. So, but we're doing, this is what is this, 85 podcasts or something?
Podcast 85, in the books, getting closer and closer to podcast 100, which looks like it's going to be, I think, the week of Ironman Louisville, which would be pretty cool.
Whoa. That's a lot of stress, man.
Whatever. So 100, that'll be the 100th podcast. We got, 54 days out from Louisville. Our final C26 triathlon camp is this weekend. And then in 2 weeks, you'll be out of town in Wisconsin for hanging with our athletes there. I'll be at Chattanooga at Worlds hanging out with our athletes there. It's awesome.
If that is our 100th when we're in Louisville, we got to. I don't know if he's going to be there, but I thought might be a good guest would be Mike Riley.
Oh, you think?
I do. I don't know. Maybe not.
I mean, all he does is announce names.
Yeah, but he's got an insight about this stuff that's going to be interesting to a lot of people. He might. I want to. I don't know if he's going to be announcing there. I don't think he is actually.
Oh, I'm not sure.
So anyway, that'll be 100 podcast. If you enjoy the podcast, we do have a Patreon page, patreon.com/crushingiron. If you would like to support us and help us kind of move more in the direction of doing this full time, because it's still not quite there, and we're committed to doing these things every Monday and Thursday for the rest of our lives. So, can you imagine that?
Yeah, I mean, it may happen.
It could happen. I hope it does.
Yeah, me too. You could support us there, or now we have a all-inclusive website. So if you want to check out all things C26 Triathlon and Crushing Iron, you can go to crushingiron.com, and that will cover our podcasts, coaching, swim analysis, gear, Patreon. I mean, you name it, it's on there. Training plans. So we still have a few spots left for a few camps next year and some athlete spots. So if you have any questions, check out our new website, and then you can find our info on there to reach out and let us know what you think.
Yeah, and as we move towards Louisville, and we have talked about this, is I am making the transition into coaching, and so keep that in mind as we get through Louisville and into next year. I've been schooled by one of the best, and
Total Immersion.
Will not be teaching Total Immersion, but I will be including some of my theories in your training plans.
This is true. This is true.
So if you kind of identify with some of them, or the different philosophies or whatever that I think about, keep that in mind as we move forward. And anything else, buddy? The eclipse is starting.
I know. I think it just got cloudy.
Oh, officially 11:27. It's 11:28. So I think we're into the eclipse. And that's really what I wanted most for this podcast, was to dip into that worldwide event.
Done. We are working during the eclipse. All the other people will get it together and get back to work.
Yep. Get out there and run through the darkness.
Well, by the time we get this edited and posted, it'll probably you can probably turn this around pretty quick, and they'll be able to see it. You can listen to this podcast outside during the eclipse. Go get it.
There we go. That just put the more pressure on me.
Yep, go get it, man.
Get this out by the full eclipse.
Yep, make it happen.
All right, I better get going.
All right, see you, dude.
See you, man. Bye.